One of the easiest mistakes to make with delegation is to identify something that you should no longer be doing, then hand it over to whoever happens to be available. And when you do that, you can, and often do, create a whole new problem for yourself in the future, because good delegation isn't just removing work from your plate. It's about putting the right responsibility with the right person. And there's a big difference, because someone may have the time to do the task, but do they have the capability? Do they understand the bigger picture? Do they have the judgment that's required? Do they communicate in the right way? Do they understand the standard that you expect? And perhaps most importantly, are they someone who's likely to take ownership of the result? Because availability and suitability are not the same thing. Imagine you want someone else to take over, let's say, the initial call when an inquiry comes through your website. Now, you could simply give that job to a person with the quietest diary. But the first conversation is incredibly important, because the person making that call needs to understand the customer, needs to ask the right questions, needs to recognise whether the inquiry is a good fit for your business, needs to be able to communicate the value of what it is that you do and know what should happen next, which means that this is not simply who's got a few minutes available every day to make the call. A far better question is, who could I develop to take ownership of this part of our customer journey? Now, for me, that question changes the way you think about delegation, because you're no longer dumping a task. Instead, you're designing a responsibility. And when you look at it that way, you can choose the person much more carefully. A few questions that are worth considering are, does this person have the right attitude? Do they naturally take responsibility? Do they communicate well? Do they understand why this task matters? Can they learn the skills required? And do they have enough capacity to take it on properly? Notice there I said capacity, not simply time. Someone may have an hour free, but if they're already mentally overloaded, adding some more responsibility may simply create another weak point within the business. You also need to think about fit, because a person can be excellent at their current role and still be the wrong person for responsibility that you're trying to delegate. Now, that's not a criticism of them. It simply means that the working requires something different. Sometimes the best person isn't the most experienced. It might be the person that's curious, reliable, coachable, good with people, and willing to take ownership, because skills can often be taught, but ownership is much harder to install. Okay, your momentum move today is to choose one task you're thinking about delegating. Then don't ask who's available, ask who is best suited to take ownership of this outcome. Look at their attitude, their capability, their communication skills, their capacity, and their willingness to learn. Because successful delegation is not about finding somewhere to put the work, it's about choosing someone that can develop to own the result. Thank you for watching.